It's Thursday the 5th of December in the Vendée Globe, the skipper's 25th day at sea, and the huge depression in the Indian Ocean is over the leaders. Charlie Dalin, out in the lead, has managed to use that eastern side to continue powering on, and he has separated away from Seb Simon, who is more towards the centre of this low pressure system, where the winds are lighter but the wave heights are up to 8 metres. The group that has gone north, they're in slightly lighter winds. They took this route for prudence, but they do have to sail a far further distance. So Dalin could actually pull out a big lead here. We had sad news in from Louis Burton on Bureau Vallée, who has had to retire from the Vendée Globe after major damage to his rig. But there's better news from Pip Hare, who managed to fix the relay for the keel by taking apart both the new one and the old one, using the bits that worked between two to get it back working again. And she's also rerouted some of her rigging so that her furling line doesn't chafe like it was before. So a much happier update we get from her. The tracker at 0600 UTC shows us this huge low pressure system in the middle of the Indian Ocean. If we zoom in on that, we can take a look at where the boats are positioned around it. Right now, Charlie Dalin is there just using that front side of the low pressure system, but just behind him we can see Seb Simon only doing 10 knots. He is falling into the lighter winds, which are nearer the centre of this. The danger here is if he falls back as the low pressure system moves from west to east, he could get caught up in those strongest winds. There we can see the purple colours, and if we hover over it, we can see the winds there at 51, 52 knots. It's not just the winds which are a problem, and here we can take a look at the graphic of the waves. And the leaders there right now are in probably seas of 3 to 4 metres. But just further back near the centre of this depression, you can see the waves are 8 metres, and these are actually set to increase. And the boats which are just behind, when you look there at Paul Milhat in Biotherm, also is coming into some extreme waves and also near where those winds are strongest. The same with Sam Goodchild and Yannick Besteven. The rankings remain the same, with the top two pulling away from those who've taken that further northern option. What's going to be interesting over the next 24 hours is how much Charlie Dalin can pull away from Seb Simon, with Sebastian falling into the centre of that low pressure system. It was always a risk to go south, both the forecast and also just whether they could outrun the storm was going to be the big question. It looks like it may have paid off for one but not the other, but still the shorter distance will keep them ahead of the chasing pack. Sailworld.com's New Zealand editor Richard Gladwell, together with PredictWind, has done some routing for Charlie Dalin, and you can see how he is using that depression as it moves from west to east. And if he can catch the strongest winds to get across to south of Cape Leeuwin, the southwest tip of Australia, then he could pull out a huge lead. It's then a case of jibing downwind as he heads along that Australian coast, then past Tasmania, and then the end of our routing point is beyond that, on his way past New Zealand. The routing for Yoann Richomme shows him using the top end of that depression to get across towards the ice gate, and where you see that little corner on the ice gate, he ends up at about 10 hours behind Dalin according to the PredictWind routing. After that point, it's then trying to use those same strong winds along the coast of Australia. Pip Hare is nothing if not resourceful, and after the problems that we reported on yesterday, where she had the relay on her keel breaking and the replacement not working, she managed to use both of them, pull them apart and find the bits that did work in both to make one working relay. Plus she has rerouted some of her rigging so that the furling line that she had, which had snapped, now shouldn't fray in the same way that it has before. Here she gives us an update.
Hi. So we passed the Cape of Good Hope early hours of this morning. Um, yeah, that hopefully is kind of a sign off for, I would say, around 48 hours of utter brutality. um, so yesterday, obviously, I spent all day repairing things. 14 hours straight I worked. And but I'm quite pleased. I'm quite pleased with the work I've done. Got a nice new furling line, red furling line over there. I've rerouted both of my furling lines because I think they, well, I mean, I've already destroyed like that's my second furling line I've been through, and I've had to basically use a spare halyard now as a furling line. So we can't carry on like this. So I had a really good look at the routes on deck, and I've rerouted them. Obviously repaired a sail, and most proud of all, I built a relay out of two knackered relays. Now, bearing in mind, yesterday I didn't even know what a relay was. I'm feeling quite proud about that. Um, so the next couple of days are going to be interesting. The pace is picking up. Um, in fact, right now while I'm filming, the breeze has just dropped. So I kind of got all the gear on, and I've got yeah, I'm kind of like at a children's party. It feels like at the moment. But honestly, when I got all my stuff out to film, we were doing 25 knots. So yeah, we are in conditions that are only going to worsen, and they're the kind of conditions where the boat really, really takes off. So next few days, I've got to really look after the boat, look after myself, um, and try and sleep as well because I'm in a bit of a sleep deficit at the moment. So we have a little look at the chart. So the Cape of Good Hope is just there. So we're well and truly past that. And if I zoom out, you can see the next leg is the Indian Ocean to Australia. Let's have a quick look at the weather. So there, you can see low pressure there that the front runners are in. There's a ridge of high pressure there, and another low pressure here that is pushing me on. So if we just fast forward that weather, I'm going to try and stay with that left hand low pressure and ride it as far as I can.
Thank you very much for watching and for all the feedback you're giving us on this channel. Please do subscribe if you haven't already using the button down here, and do take a look at sailworld.com and yachtsandyachting.com, where we bring you so much more from the world of sailing.